Welcome to It's Upgrade Season, the only place to get raw and unfiltered advice on how to get your shit together 1 week at a time. I'm your host, Alexandria, and join me every Monday for The Upgrade and every Friday for The Wind Down, where I'm going to be answering your dilemmas. Small shifts, huge upgrades. Let's fucking do this. Hello, and welcome back to It's Upgrade Season. I hope you are filled to the brim with delicious Christmas food. I'm sat here in my Bow & Tea grey t-shirt. You guys, this t-shirt's become part of my personality at this point. Bow & Tea, so underrated, I feel. It's part of Opoly, I think. I love their like casual stuff. I am living for it. This t-shirt's really nice, thick quality. So if you're tuning in on YouTube or Spotify video, then you'll be able to see what I mean, and you will probably recognize it from Instagram. Just on that, I just want to share a quick thank you, because we were in the top 20% of video podcasts on Spotify. And I just think with the amount of podcasts there are these days and the amount, I feel like all podcasts do video now, that just felt huge. I just want to say a little shout out to our Spotify listeners and a massive thank you, because that felt incredible to see. We actually got like a Spotify Wrapped, but like a podcast version. So it's really cool to see. So let's get into today's episode. Today's episode's going to be about why I'm not setting goals in 2025 and what I am doing instead. And let me just say, old me is dying right now. Old me is so ashamed and embarrassed of me right now. Old me is, what do you mean you're not setting goals, you lazy fucking bitch? Get some goals. I just want to preface with that, because I have definitely done a bit of a 180 here, and I just want to own it. I used to be a goals girly. I used to have the planners. I ran the workshops. I went to the workshops. I lived for the goals, and I actually don't think there's anything wrong with goals. But I do think in certain seasons, in certain phases of your life, goals is just not what works. And I have realized for this season that I'm in, the usual way of goal setting is not what's going to work for me. So here is an alternative approach. And I really want to share it with you guys, because if you are in a similar season, or you've been struggling with goals, or something's just not feeling quite right, maybe this is the softer approach that you've been looking for. And I know that I feel really motivated and really excited by this. And I think it's just proof that it doesn't have to look one way. So I'm going to share it with you ladies. And I think I just also want to preface actually by saying one thing, like, this isn't about abandoning ambition. I think you can be incredibly ambitious. I still have huge visions for my life. They're just different than they used to be. So this isn't anti-ambition or anti-goals in that way. This is just about being authentic. It's about being intentional. It's actually about feeling really liberated in that process. So it's actually meant to be feeling more expansive rather than contractive. So first of all, I want to share a couple of reasons why I'm not goal setting. And again, I'm curious, drop me a DM on this episode, because I want to know what resonates for you. Am I just in the season alone? Are other people in the season with me? But first of all, I didn't want to set goals because I want to honor who I am rather than who I was. And as I shared in the last episode, I feel like for 2024, I set a lot of goals that were representative of who I was rather than who I am. And I want to make sure I don't make that mistake again. I think a lot of us set goals based on things we want or used to want, or other people want us to want. They're not always reflective of where we are and what we value. And I think as well, a lot of my goals, I'll be completely honest, used to be business focused. Like, I used to put some like personal ones in there, being like, oh yeah, add this in. But like, really, it was the business ones that used to really get me going. And I think the interesting shift I've noticed, and maybe it's motherhood, maybe it's my 30s, maybe it's just something in the fucking planet, who knows? I am way more motivated by personal goals right now. So I want to make sure that my kind of things that I'm doing, or the things that I'm aiming for, really are reflective of that right now. And I think that's just really my main takeaway here. Goals should align with who you are rather than who you thought you'd be. The second thing is, I want to remain flexible to discovery. I am like, universe, show me the fucking magic. I'm like, blow me away. Let me know what possibilities exist that I wasn't even seeing were possible for me. And I really have started to tap into this year. I went on a little solo night away and I wrote in my journal what possibilities could exist for my life. And I just really thought outside the box. I really let go of labels that I'd held before and was like, what is possible for me? And it just showed me how many amazing multifaceted areas of my life I haven't explored yet, and I'm really excited to explore those areas. So I want to remain flexible in that discovery, because through that journey, through that process, I might discover something and then a really clear goal comes from that place. And I just want to leave space for that, because I want to be like, oh, okay, this is actually now a goal, versus being like, but I can't have this goal because I said I would focus on this thing, and just causing myself a whole fucking head fuck with it. Unexpected opportunities I want to remain open to. I also want to remain open to the discovery. And I think it's really good to do that sometimes. Leave space for discovery and growth without having these rigid expectations or this rigid set way that things need to look. I also want to prioritize myself over a goal. I think this is a really important one to talk about. So when I was reflecting on why I'm just not into goals this year, this was a big thing that came out for me. And I feel like I've never really heard anyone talk about this before, but I feel like goals are often external focused. And I actually really wanted to be internally focused first and foremost, with the external coming second this year. Now, I used to talk about this with manifestation in terms of, I'd say, set the intention, because the intention is the most expansive thing. The intention is who you be, and then the goal is what you do. Intention first, goal second. And because goals are actually limited, I'll give you an easy example here. If the intention is to be abundant, but the goal is to earn $1 million this year, like $1 million is actually limited, whereas abundant has no limit. So I feel like I touched on this previously, but I feel like I'm just leaning a lot more into the internal this year. And I feel like something I've noticed is that many goals initially come from the right place. They come from the heart, they come from intuition, they come from a desire, they come from a dream, wherever it may be for you that resonates. They come from the right place. But in becoming a goal, they unintentionally become about productivity, success, or external validation. And I just want to be really mindful of that. I don't want to achieve anything in 2025 because I set out to achieve it and for the sake of achieving it. I want to make sure that it stays grounded in the right intention and from the right energy and from the right place. And yeah, I feel like that's why for me this year, setting a goal, I think it would be easy to go back into a pattern of doing like anything and everything to achieve that goal. I'm just not also in a season in my life where that's necessarily possible for me. Prior to motherhood, I was happy to pour in the extra hours. I loved doing it. But now I want to make sure that at 5 o'clock, everything's shut down so I can have 5 till bedtime with my son. And then after that, I want to rest. I need rest. I'm up early. I have a lot of things, on, as everyone does, on their plate. Rest is really important to me. And I'm in my 30s, so maybe it's that. I survived on barely any sleep in my 20s. And we were talking about this the other day with a friend. I used to go out to literally 4 in the morning, have a few hours sleep and rock into work at 7. Get up for work at 7. It was 3 hours sleep. Vile. Ew. But I'm not in that place anymore. So yeah, I feel like this just feels like a really healthy approach for me. And I really want to make sure at the end of 2025, I can say, how did I feel rather than what did I achieve? That feels of the utmost importance to me. So I feel like the really important reminder here is that you are the foundation of everything, and that prioritizing yourself and focusing on yourself lays the right foundation for everything else. So what do I want for 2025? So I've got a couple of things I'm going to share that I am focusing on, and I'm also going to share after this what this could mean for you as well. So for me personally, in 2025, I want to be the healthiest, happiest, most present version of me. And what does that look like? It looks like being physically stronger than ever. So I mentioned last episode, more weight training, but I also want to be more consistent with my exercise. Doing like a big thing, like going for a reformer class or a weight training, like getting the PT in for a weight training, that feels like a once a week thing that I can definitely commit to. Whereas I feel like what I want to get better at is doing like little 15 minutes a day. Studio by Ash Pilates. I've mentioned it before. I'm like her biggest fangirl. She is just in amazing shape. And I'm not just talking physically, although her body is to fucking die for. You can tell she's fit. Her hormones are balanced, her skin's glowing, and she's been on a journey with this stuff. I share this because she shares it on Instagram. Definitely follow her if you don't already. But the thing that I was saying is she has 2 kids and she just gives off this vitality. And I think something that I'm really feeling the call to do is, and I've seen work for other people, and not just her, but just people around me and in my life, is like small and consistent has such a compounding effect. I really want to just get good at doing, I'm just going to start small, but 10, 15 minutes every day, and then those bigger workouts once or twice a week. It's really going to be on the consistency piece for me. And then I think the second thing is going for longer walks. I want to be honest about this, just in case any other mums are in the same boat. I see so many mums going on these K-step walks with their kids. Leo doesn't want to do that. I love him for it. Please know when I say these things, this is not complaint. I wouldn't change a single thing about that kid. I fucking adore him, and he's so adventurous. He's got so much energy. But he has never, ever liked being pinned down. He hates the car seat. He is not the biggest fan of a stroller. Even when he was a tiny baby, I remember us running to get home because he was screaming bloody murder when we tried to take him out in the stroller. So he has got a bit better than that, but we do a dog walk in the morning, sometimes in the evening as well with him. And it's not the longest loop just because he does get bored. But I want to make sure that I am prioritizing works more. So mums, if you have any tips to keep your toddler happy in the stroller. I think now he's more steady on his feet. I might just let him get out and walk a little bit more as well. But regardless, whether it's with Leo, whether it's actually doing it when we have childcare or doing it with friends, I want to walk more. So I'm going to prioritize longer walks because I've actually found that really hard to prioritize in this season. I also want to bring back my meditation practice, and I am going to aim for daily on that. Might not happen, but I'm going to aim for daily. I had a diagnosis this year. I still haven't shared about it publicly. I am going to record a podcast episode. I just haven't felt ready. Like, I've been learning so much about myself and what it means for me. And I've also been medicating for it and all these things. And it's felt like a really positive journey for me. Honestly, I feel really good about it. But I just want a little bit more time to just assimilate everything before I share it. But as part of that, I know meditation will be really good for me. I know meditation is good for me in general. And it's so funny, again, like old me listening back on this will be like, Alex, what the fuck? I used to have a 2-hour morning routine, you guys. I was like dedicated to the mindset work. But this fell away from me during pregnancy. I felt so sick. Meditation was just an absolute no. I did try it. Trust me, it was a no. And ever since then, it just hasn't happened. I wake up when Leo wakes up. God bless these mums who wake up an hour before their kids, but that is just not going to be me. Unless he starts waking up at 7 o'clock, because he wakes up anywhere between, the other day it was 4:58, he started babbling, 4:58. But he wakes up any time between 5 and 6:30. And one, it's not consistent. But 2, I am not getting up at 4 in the morning, you guys. It's not happening. I'm not even getting up at 5 in the morning. 5 does not work for me. I would rather have the sleep. And trust me, everyone else is better for me having the sleep than me sitting and journaling. I think I just need to be honest about that and maybe work out a different time to meditate. I think it would be really nice actually when child pet care begins in the morning. Maybe I just take the first 10 to 30 minutes to make sure I'm doing that. So going to be getting back to meditation. Practicing being in my truth versus people pleasing. I shared a lot about this on the last episode, so I'm not going to go too much into it, but what I will say is it's still a consistent practice, just like being in my truth. My pattern was definitely just like trying to please everyone else. I didn't even realize I was doing it. And yeah, I just really want to honor a little bit more like what I actually need. And then finally, finding joy in the small present moments. So much of this season of my life is about rhythms, routines, a lot of repetitiveness, a lot more just being in the house, in all honesty, than the previous season of my life. And I'm really enjoying it. I really do love it. But I think it is also a reminder to make the mundane magical. And I had this real commitment this year to A, be really present, but B, to see how I can make things just a little bit more magical. So when I make my tea in the morning, I drink loose leaf tea in the mornings anyway, but really ritualizing that. And I feel like that's stuff I can do with Leo as well. He's so cute, guys. He loves making coffees. He loves making teas. He does actually use the coffee machine. Like, he presses all the buttons, or like when we have the Nespresso out at the moment because my parents like that, like he'll put the pods in, he presses it down, he's so cute with it. But I feel like it's something I can actually do with him. But I just want to bring a little bit more ritual to those like small moments in life, and yeah, just letting myself feel really good. So first thing that I'm committing to is being my healthiest, happiest, most present version of me. The second thing I'm committing to is enjoying my life and making memories. And this to me is just really shining the spotlight on living fully rather than just achieving things. And I think if I'm really honest with myself, there were times in my life previously where I had everything, but I was working so hard, I didn't have the space to enjoy it fully. And I don't think I celebrated enough some of the achievements I created. It just felt very full, but not always in a way that left space for that. So I remember, for example, I was like on my honeymoon at the same time my product-based business got listed in Selfridges in the UK, and there was just like a lot going on all at the same time. But it didn't always leave space to celebrate. It didn't also leave space just to enjoy that. I feel like I've lived in places as well, and we'd move and I'd be like, oh, but we never got around to doing these things whilst we were here. And I just never prioritized it because, yeah, things were full. So I really just want to live fully. And I know it's not going to be this, but I just don't want to look back on 2025 and be like, yay, I like hustled hard. That is just not my priority right now. I want to look back and be like, wow, look at all the beautiful memories that we collected. And that's not to say that I don't want to achieve things. As I said at the beginning, this is not giving up ambition. It's just like laying a different foundation for me. And yeah, so that's really the question for me. Like, how many amazing memories did I create this year? That's going to be my priority. The third thing is I'm going to set solid foundations for what's next. So instead of focusing on goals, I really want to focus on habits and bringing back some of those habits. My whole habits and routines got thrown out the window becoming a mom, and I feel like any of my attempts to bring them back in haven't worked particularly well right now. I feel like it's my fault because I've still tried to implement them in the same way that I would have done prior to being a mother. And I really think something I'm committing to in 2025 is just like bringing them in a way that feels sustainable, achievable, and also meets me where I'm at rather than trying to meet myself where I was at. So for example, with the consistent exercise, like I'm just going to start doing it with Leo there. Like instead of trying to like do it when he's not there, I'm just going to do it with him. And I'm just going to accept that he's probably going to crawl all over me and that I'm going to have to run away from the mat probably 15 times to stop him climbing something. And that's okay. That just gets to be part of it. So really focusing on those habits. I mentioned meditation. Another thing that I'm committing to there is really just focusing on less things a day. I really want to create sustainable foundations. And I think for me, that often means doing a little bit less rather than doing everything all at once and then feeling quite tired or burnt out. I think just learning to sustain my energy more in this season is really important to me. And I really know that if I ground myself in those foundations, it sets really good steps for what comes next. And then the last thing is that I want to explore parts of myself that have been dormant. So rediscover parts of myself, pick up old hobbies. I shared that this year I started doing singing lessons again. I have really been enjoying them. It just brings me so much joy. Like that hour has been like the highlight of my week. No, maybe that's a bit far. I feel like the highlight of my week is actually often something that Leo's done. He said, I love you for the first time the other day. He's also been really clingy since my parents got here. He loves my parents. He's more than happy with them, but he's just been more cuddly. It's so nice. Anyway, that's an aside. It's one of the highlights of my week. I really enjoy going for singing lessons, but I also just want to explore other areas that I'm so passionate about and I love doing. I love writing. I set the intention this year to write a lot more than I did, and instead I let everything else get prioritized. I do also think there was a lot that got thrown up in 2024 that I didn't expect. So I can forgive myself that. Cooking. I love cooking, guys. My first business was a product-based food business, and I used to do all the recipe creation for it. And since I've had Leo, I've cooked a lot more again because I'm cooking him meals. I'm creating things without sugar. I'm creating healthy versions of things that he can enjoy. So I did start to share those on Instagram. I created an account called Things My Baby Eats. If you're not following it, go and follow it because I'm going to start posting on there again. I got locked out for ages and yeah, I'm back and I'm going to start posting next year. A lot more cooking, but also things that I also used to love: videography, design, just really letting myself explore those areas that I naturally love, and yeah, seeing where they lead, seeing where the paths lead. What could this mean for you? I feel like there's so much pressure really to level up every January. I feel like January is okay, let's level up, let's change everything, let's put in place a million things. But I feel like this is an opportunity for you to, instead of setting so many goals it's unachievable, like firstly, maybe just if you are setting goals, cut them in half. Like set half the goals you're going to do. Maybe just set 3 goals for the entire year, like really, so you can focus on them and give them your whole energy. I think it's an opportunity to set a theme or a word for the year as well. I think setting that theme or word, like I said, it's not limited, but it also ensures that you're going into everything with the right energy and that you're really prioritizing achieving from a foundational place that feels really good. And then continuing to stay open and curious and reflective throughout the year. So really checking in with yourself. What do I need more of? What do I need less of? Is this still feeling aligned? Like maybe you get partway through a path and it wasn't what you wanted. Something I used to love when I was a business coach, I swear I shared this before, is some of my happiest results wasn't actually when people necessarily grew these big businesses. And of course, like that was amazing. I had an Instagram memory come up the other day where a client had sent me just having my first 6-figure month. And I'm like, buzzing. Like I loved helping people get results like that. And some of my other favorite results were when people were like, do you know what? This coaching business isn't for me, or whatever business they're running. Like, do you know what? This isn't for me. I've actually realized this is for me. That was a win to me because they were finding true alignment and what really lit them up. Really just knowing that 2025 doesn't have to be completely mapped out. You can still grow, you can still evolve, you can still discover, and you just never know. There are possibilities beyond what you can imagine. There are magical mysteries waiting for you that you don't even know yet that can come into 2025. It can be a year of discovery. It can be a year of unapologetically prioritizing yourself, and it can be beautiful, whatever it looks like to you. If you are feeling on the softer side of goals this year, I hope this helped. I hope this was supportive. Please take a little screenshot and share on Instagram if you love this episode. I love seeing what landed for you guys, which lessons you loved. Just let me know. It really helps me as well plan future episodes, and we got some exciting things planned for 2025. But with this, I just want to wish you the happiest new year. I hope that 2025 is your most joyful, your most abundant, your most fulfilling, your most loving, incredible year to date, and that you have the most amazing new year, whatever your plans, whether you probably won't be staying up till midnight if you're like me, whether you're going out, whatever it may be. Have the most amazing time, and I will see you in 2025.